Welcome to Black Coffee Conversations, where we are sipping on bold flavors of truth and vulnerability. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Tiffany. And this is Mr. David Suddeth. David is an Omega man.
Yes.
He is a Tennessee Hall of Famer for basketball. He works with kids in the community, driver for Great Line, an entrepreneur, a man of many talents.
That's right.
He's also the host of the High Table podcast, which you've been doing for a while, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
What's the High Table all about? What's your focus? Is it mostly sports?
Sports, relationships. Back when COVID really had taken over the country, I had some doctors come on and talk about the do's and don'ts for COVID, what we should look out for and stuff like that. So I'm progressing towards relationships with a lot of local sports heroes that never really had a voice. And so this is the platform that they can talk. Just talk crazy, have some fun.
There we go. And
Well,
what are we
today
talking about?
we're getting into a topic I think a lot of people, especially in our generation, can relate to in the Black community, and that is divorce and breakups.
Yes.
So I'm a single person, never been married, so I'm ready to learn all about what it's like in a marriage. But also, I think that you two are bringing a very unique perspective in that. You can tell your own story now.
Right.
So we got to start off with
Me?
Let's
I
start off with
first.
you. I want to hear because I want to hear your story.
Wow.
And then we'll go into mine. But I want to hear about David.
Oh, man, you get to go first. Lord,
Yes, I know, right?
Hell has officially frozen over today.
You are the guest.
Well, for someone that has been divorced twice, we'll go back to the first divorce.
Is it twice?
Twice, 2 times.
Two times.
Same here and same here. Twice.
2 times.
Two
Yeah.
times.
I would blame my parents.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because they stayed together for 55 years.
Yes.
The large majority of my neighborhood had a mother and father.
Yeah.
So it's all I saw.
Yeah.
PTA meetings,
Yes. Same here.
sports programs, they was there. So in my mind, I thought, you get married, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
And my dad never told me the struggles that they had.
Yeah.
Okay. You try living with somebody for 55 years, let's say dated for 3 years, then 58 years altogether.
Wow.
Of course you're gonna have some issues, but parents doing their due diligence never told us they had issues. We never knew.
Yeah.
The lights were always on, food was always in the refrigerator, so we assumed the life was good.
Yeah.
So I get married.
How old were you the first time?
32.
32. Okay.
So we get pregnant. I get married. I'm thinking, how hard can it be? I'm a good guy. I don't rob nobody. I don't hurt nobody. How hard can it be? I'm a nice guy. I don't have a record. I have decent credit. I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. No one told me of the difficulties of getting married. My immediate friends gave me horrible information because they didn't know.
Were they married?
They were not married at the time.
Okay.
And so my immediate friends would just tell me the worst things. I didn't know they were the worst things until I grew up a little bit. You see what I'm saying? And so going through divorce with a son was terrible.
Yeah.
And having to try to win every argument, which you never win an argument, period. It's just a lot of yelling and screaming and cursing and then my son in the middle and I'm in Atlanta by myself. It's just like I'm fighting to survive. And so I deserve to be divorced. I was terrible. I was a cheater. I was in the streets. I didn't know how to handle not having sex with my wife. The hardest thing that grown-ups have to deal with is work-life balance. How do you work hard and provide? How do you have time for yourself? How do you commingle all that together to be a good person? And no one gave me the blueprint.
Yeah. Did you all have any type of premarital counseling?
None of that.
So none of that.
None of that.
Just the wedding and.
We got pregnant, and then hey, we go to the courthouse for $35 and a marriage license.
Yeah.
But y'all loved each other at that time.
At that time, we lived with each other. I had a house in Madison. We lived. That's a great point. So we were in love. I moved to Atlanta. How hard can it be? I'm a nice guy. So it always rung in my head. I'm not a bad guy, but we never. We dated a long distance for 4 years. and so we never was in the same space
Yeah.
for no longer than, let's say, a couple of weeks at a time.
Do you think that plays a factor in choosing or getting to know someone's character or how they might be in behaviors once you get together officially?
Well, we don't know the questions to ask that. Hindsight,
It's,
I ask those questions. But
Gotcha.
when you're young, at 32, 33, she's a good person. She doesn't have any, red flags. She's nice and pretty. Why not? How hard can it be? We don't
Right.
argue. We don't fight. We don't get crazy.
What did your parents say though?
They did not want me to get married. They did not want me to leave Nashville. Okay? But my daddy would say, like our parents would say, I'm not going to tell you what to do,
Yeah.
but this is what you ought to do.
Uh-huh.
So I moved to Atlanta. We get married like maybe on a Friday. I told my parents I got married. My dad said, "Boy, you a fool. You should have done that." I didn't know what he was thinking. And not to say she's a bad person. It's just that he has years.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't respect the gray in people's face.
Yeah.
That gray
Yeah.
means something.
It
It means
does.
you've been
It
through some
means-
things.
yeah, that's right.
And so I never forget. We've been struggling. Money was tight. We probably would have still be married now if we would have stayed in Hampton, Georgia. But we were so enamored with Buckhead. Y'all been to Buckhead. The condo life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and so we had some money saved up. We go from paying a $900 mortgage to a $3,500 mortgage
Oh, wow.
and a $500,000 condo in Buckhead.
Yeah.
On top of I never forget this, on top of an $800 HOA bill per month.
Oh,
wow.
Then it gets worse. Car notes, utilities,
Yeah.
and my son's daycare was $1,200
Oh yeah.
a week.
Daycare is like a mortgage. It's just
Right.
yeah, pretty much.
And so the money we made from renting out a house, man, it goes in a month or so. A month and a half, 2 months. So now it's tight.
Yeah.
And when money's tight,
Oh, yeah.
ain't no six.
And you never had those conversations in the
Zero.
beginning.
You never
You
had
don't
no
talk about
conversation.
finances. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
So what's the tension like in a house when the money's tight?
Tight.
Like what happens?
That's number. I think that's the number one reason, really, for divorce. What they say, communication, finances.
finance.
You gotta have those
That's
conversations.
right. That's right. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
funny. Ain't nothing
That's right.
funny. Ain't nobody telling jokes.
Right.
And,
And how do you manage it? How
That's
do you
right.
look at it? How do you spend?
That's right.
All of that
You
is-
never had those conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all. And so now, money gets tight. I'm messing around. She finds out, and then that was it. That was it. I mean, I was
There
asking.
was no coming back after that.
I mean, well, everybody have their non-negotiables.
Hers was
Infidelity.
infidelity.
Infidelity is a non-negotiable. Okay, and so and I tell my friends this to this day. My behavior cost me a relationship with my son.
Wow.
Because now we are father and son, but we more like homeboys. You know what I'm saying? He's calling me now, but he don't want nothing. You know what I'm saying? We're like partners now. You're like, hey, bro. That's how kids talk now. I'm not your bro, I'm your daddy, but I gotta go back
Yeah.
to when this all started. And so
How old was he? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
he
How
was
old
like-
was he when you divorced?
4, maybe 5 years old.
Okay.
And so having to deal with that, the emotion of that, her mother would come to town. It's a funny thing about that. I'll tell you about her mother. But I was asked to leave the condo. I didn't have a place to stay. I was still trying to get back with her. So I was living in my car for 3 months.
Wow.
Right? With all my shit, all my stuff was in my car, in my Nissan Altima.
Wow.
I had stuff everywhere. But I'm a survivor. I can deal with it. I don't need much to survive. I'm still kind of that way to this day. I'm a minimalist. But it kind of birthed the man that I am now by going through that.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good
Yeah.
right there.
Exactly.
But you
A lot
don't
of men need to hear that.
but you don't understand that until you're going through it. I used to stay in on a weekly hotel.
Yeah.
But that night I was asked to leave. The police came to the door.
Yeah.
I had a duffel bag with some underwear, some shorts and stuff. And so I called my homeboy. He said, yeah, man, come on over there. So I go to his house. There's 9 other dudes over there, right?
Yeah.
So we all just tucked away, sleeping on the floor and stuff. So I stayed there for some months and sleeping in my car and stuff. And then finally, one of my good friends, she's still my good friend to this day. She said, David, your wife don't want you no more. It's time for you to move on. And sometimes people that love you give you tough information.
They should.
And they should. She told me that, changed my way of thinking.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I got an apartment, started getting some rhythm going. And so she and I always battle. And that's the thing that would always irritate me. How come two people of sound mind cannot have a conversation?
Emotions.
Emotions.
What do you think about that? Because I think that's one of the key ingredients to the health of any relationship is your ability to have difficult conversations.
Yes.
Your ability to not hold in whatever is making you insecure that you're wondering about, but ask the tough questions, sit down with your partner, and you all be honest, vulnerable, and work through it.
Right.
If you can't do that, you're never ever gonna go the course. And I don't know if that's true in divorce. Maybe some people stay and just live silent partnership lives, but as a single woman in dating, if I can't talk to a man and have clarity, ask the question that I need to know, ask where you are we aligned, then I can't.
Yeah.
Well, when you're young, you know, you ain't gained no weight, you got a couple of abs, you feeling good, you ready for money. So next thing you know, you think you know it all. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just life.
Feeling yourself.
Right, feeling myself. So we finally come to a common space. We are. You know, money's tight, money's still tight, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm on child support, we working through that. Our relationship never really kind of got to a smooth point, right? And so, come to find out, you know, my son moves to West Virginia. Really, I can say this now. He's not supposed to leave without me signing off wherever he goes. But my money was so tight. He normally would go to West Virginia for the summer. He stays down there for good. Like, yeah, what the hell going on? But it's cool though. You got tons of cousins down there. I'd rather him be around family than be with me living in a weekly hotel, right? So I get my crib, we good. I'm going to West Virginia, but she and I always beefing and arguing. Like, God, how can we come together and just be friends? And it's still tough to this day. You know what I'm saying? And so, fast forward to her mother. I ain't seen her mother at the time in 9 years since she slammed the door in my face at the place. So I'm in West Virginia seeing my son play college basketball. And I see her mother, like about a year before she passed away. And so I'm thinking, man, I see this woman, I'm gonna cuss her out, man. But I see her and I still love her. You know, that's my mother-in-law. You know what I'm saying? And so we hug and talk, we tell each other we love each other. And so I'm glad we had that interaction. And so as you mature, you kind of figure out that, you know, some of the things that you did, you take responsibility and then you move on. But it's tough to deal with not having that relationship with my son. So if I could do anything over, I would really work on that better.
So basically he was about 4 or 5 when you actually got divorced.
Yes.
So, and you were 32 years old at the beginning of that marriage. What about your second marriage? How did that?
That one probably hurt me more than that one, but in a different way. Because I thought that if you have a wife, you pour 100% into her. What I didn't know was you're supposed to get yourself together in order to be the man that she can be. Because, you know, she was raped, she was molested, she was abandoned, a high level of daddy issues. I knew about it, but it did not surface until you get into a marriage. Now you may ask, why did it surface now? Well, you can't run from the issues. She used education not to deal with the issues that she had. Highly decorated, tons of degrees, she's a doctor. But when you take the education out of the picture, now you gotta learn how to love on the husband, love on the man. My perspective is different. I'm more like the Cosbys. I had a mother and father. Her father didn't acknowledge her. Her mother was in the streets, abandoned her. So now you have two different dynamics that we touched on, but not really get deep with it. And so it got to the point where it was just tough to stay together. It was just tough. There wasn't no infidelity involved. It was just that those issues had become too much of a burden. It was either us stay together and fight through it, or not. And so she chose, you know what, I love you, but I gotta deal with this, you know. And plus she showed me that I need to go to therapy, so that's why I started going to therapy because of her. So it wasn't all bad per se. You know, she's a good woman, man. But at that time it was tough. You know, how come? I say this now. Try making love to a woman that views you as her attacker. I never studied how to deal with a woman like that, and so I would react in a way, in an immature way. Not all the time, but sometimes I would get it, and sometimes I wouldn't get it. You know,
Did it sort of block you from being vulnerable and being authentic in the relationship?
In a sense, but with her, I probably was the most free I've ever been because she was so transparent. So it encouraged me to be transparent, and she didn't judge me on being transparent. Like if I shed a tear or cried. So now she's emotional. I'm understanding why I had to be emotional or why I was emotional.
So did you go into the second marriage, do you feel like better prepared? Because what did you learn from the first marriage? Do you feel like you went into the second marriage like, okay, this is what I learned from this first marriage.
True.
And I'm going to do better.
True.
This second marriage. I'm just.
True. No. That's an amazing question. Infidelity has a lot of different meanings. You know. So going to the second marriage, I know I wasn't going to cheat, but I had to learn how to be a better husband. And one thing about getting married, you learn on the fly.
Yeah.
You can read books all you want to, but until the wedding is over with, you get back from the honeymoon, did it all kind of ways.
Right.
Now it's time to really focus in. I had to throw it in there, but because you're gonna do it a bunch of ways. But then you have to really focus on this person because it's not about your friends or your tribe. It's about y'all coming together. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I took from the first one, to just focus on her. And I focused on her, but then this other stuff, when I tell you, it was very, very difficult. And I never seen somebody that went through that much stuff and still was productive. Her daddy didn't want her. Her mama was supposed to come to one of her graduations, never came. Supposed to come to a wedding, didn't show up. Her daddy didn't show up. Those are things that little girls want to see from their daddy. They would always want to sit on their daddy's lap. You see what I'm saying? And he wouldn't come. He wouldn't answer a phone call. He would lie and say, "Yeah, I'm coming. I got my plane ticket." Never show up. And so I just wasn't prepared to handle that type of trauma. Yeah. But on the flip side, I can recall the first time I called, your job be that 1-800 number, to talk to a therapist. I was crying on the telephone. I didn't even know why I was crying. Yeah. So that kind of led me towards journaling and meditation and going to therapy.
Yes. So do you hold stuff in when you're in that tension of a marriage that's not working out, or you holding it in, or are you talking to your boys?
Great point. What I learned was not all my friends can handle my trauma.
Yeah.
I opened up to one of my homeboys. It was the worst freaking thing I ever done. Like, I should have kept that shit to myself because he gave me nothing back.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, damn, I could have kept it to myself. Man, don't worry about that stuff, man. You be all right. No, I won't be all right.
That's true, I think, in dating, period, with relationships, because I have friends that are not aligned with my views or even my goals as far as relationships go. So talking to them is completely unproductive because we don't have the same values.
But they're valuable for different areas. You got friends you hang out with. You got friends that like your dogs. You got friends that can handle certain things.
But your emotions, I have as far as going to vent about what's going on in my relationship.
And I was going to say, we'll talk about that because really, in my opinion, when you get married, it is important to think about the company that you are keeping.
The tribe.
It is very important to marry. And good married couples, like-minded people.
Yeah.
If you, in my opinion, I don't necessarily agree with having a lot of single friends around once you get married because they don't know some of the things that it may take.
That is true.
In a marriage. Like being single and dating, I might not deal with some drama from a man that I'm dating, but when you're married, that changes. That commitment is there more so than when you're just dating.
It's weird as a single person too, because I have hung out with married couples.
Yes.
and felt uncomfortable around their husbands. And that is like, okay, this is my friend. I'm like, I'm not coming back over here no more. If I do, I got to have me a boyfriend.
Right.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's difficult as a single person to be around married people too.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they may be intimidated.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to go.
Right.
You're out of there.
Right. But I think it just sounds to me, and I know I haven't touched on mine. I mean, everybody's marriage is different.
Right.
But I got married, my first marriage, when I was 22, so I was very young. And my parents, like yours, you anything that may have happened, you never knew there were any issues. Right. And the baby boomer, generation, they swept things under the rug. I mean, they had problems just like everyone else, but they never wanted their children to see that. And you can kind of have an appreciation for that, because kids should not be, should not have to see some of the things that go on. So I came from that same type of childhood, but I got married very young. And I'm going to tell you this, the thing that I think David was missing, and now looking back, and I, now having a 29-year-old and 19-year-old twins, we really have a lot of conversations about relationships, because I really want them to get it right. And learn from some of the mistakes that I've made. But I think, first of all, it's all about starting with self and making sure that you are good. First of all, that I have a relationship, and I don't know what your spirituality is, but to me, making sure that I'm right spiritually, I have this relationship with God, and that I'm growing and getting to know me. When I was in my first marriage, he was nice looking, cool, great guy. I mean, my first husband, great guy, but we were young. We even went through premarital counseling, but I really didn't have a relationship with God. We were excited about the wedding. We we did love each other. But just kind of went into it not thinking of what a marriage truly is about, what it entails. And quite frankly, you even spoke to your dad telling you don't need to do this. My parents really didn't. They really helped plan. They liked him. And so I kind of, yes, Mom, I'm going to say this. I try not to get too much involved in my children's affairs, but I'm very much, we have that open conversation and communication, and I think that's important to have.
But you have to allow them to bump their head.
You do. You have to, but can we not? We have to allow them to make their own mistakes, but we can still have conversations, right?
Well, what children really talk to their parents in depth? We think they do.
Okay, now I will say this, everyone's different.
True.
Right. Because I will say that my girls, and of course they don't tell me everything, I'm sure there are things they keep, to themselves, but I'll have to say for us, we really have an open conversation. And so I do, especially with my 29-year-old, I'm having those conversations. But I think, for me, if I could go back, it would just be to make sure that I was okay with me. I needed to get myself together. Part of premarital counseling needs to be about those important conversations, finances, having those conversations up front, having those conversations about communication, all of that.
So how do we get out of a relationship that's not working? Like, when do you decide enough is enough? I'm sure, when you're married, it's a bigger leap of faith and a harder decision to come to than when you're single and you guys are just dating or in a relationship. So
that's a tough question. Well,
for me, I'll just give you my single perspective. I think that you have to just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, it requires a bit of radical acceptance that, this didn't work. And then as you are nursing yourself back to health, you have to have a lot of self-compassion and self-respect, meaning that the things that you were insecure about that got triggered in a relationship, if you need to go work out, if you need to start going to therapy, or you need to unpack some of those childhood triggers that might have emerged in relationships, because I think sometimes when we're single, those triggers are with us, but until we come into mirror with another person, we don't know how deep they are, because another person will bring it all the way out.
How I wish it were that
That's
cut and dry, that's simple.
Well, let
You
me
wanna,
say
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
say
You
this.
talk about
Let
it.
me
Yeah,
say this.
when you're married.
When you're married,
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of stuff to think about.
A lot of stuff.
And
Yes.
Your finances,
Yeah.
your kids.
yeah, and so it's a decision that you can't make from an emotional perspective.
Exactly.
This is somebody that you once loved, that
Mm-hmm.
you went before God.
Mm-hmm.
You brought them to your grandma. Your grandma loved. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so now you're trying to end it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with divorce.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I have a
hate
problem with it because you said that we were going to fight. It didn't say you would get tired fighting. For me, I don't have many non-negotiables. You know, I went into my second marriage like, okay, whatever happens, kind of happen. I can deal with it. And if it's a bad season, it's just a season. I would rather have a tough year to have 12 good years. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why you look at women these days, they are the ones that initiate divorce. Men rarely initiate divorce because women are hard to keep entertained for the duration of a marriage.
I would beg to differ.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
Oh, I want to hear this part.
That the fact that you differ, I respect that. But percentages do not lie. Now,
You're exactly right.
now,
I completely agree
now,
that women definitely by far initiate. Yes.
Now,
yes.
let me say this. Men do not initiate breakups.
No, they don't. You're exactly right.
We want to, most men, and I'm going to speak for all men right now.
Okay.
We want to fight through whatever we're going through. Even when sex diminishes. Because we choose you.
And I think this, I don't necessarily think it's that you choose us, maybe in some cases, but you did. We chose each other, so you're right. So we are in this marriage, but I think that women, first of all, when those emotions, because we need that emotional connection, when that has played out, or in my case, it was abuse. I was in an abusive relationship. But I will say this for men, there are a lot of men that are still in marriages that are unhappy and they will not initiate the divorce for different reasons. Sometimes I think men, and I can't speak for men, but things that conversations, sometimes men can compartmentalize. So perhaps they put everything into work. They're okay. Hey, guess what? I'm not getting the sex here in my marriage. I'm not happy. She's not happy, but we built this together. We have this home. I'm going to focus on my career because I don't want to break that up.
Okay.
And then there are some men that will sit out there and do whatever and maybe do other things with other people out there, but still stay married. And I think maybe it's the financial part too that keeps men in. I don't know the reason. But I know for women, we have to have that emotional connection. And if we don't have that and that's gone, why are we here?
See, that's the issue.
And maybe I'm wrong.
That's why I'm here.
Maybe I'm...
That's why I'm here today, to shed some light.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Once you peel back the layers, let's look at this. You peel back the layers.
Let's peel them back.
Peel them back. Finances.
Yes.
Sex,
yes.
and emotion.
Yes, sex, emotion.
All that can be worked on. All that, in the course of a marriage, you're going to have your ebbs and flows. It's a roller coaster. There are going to be some times that you like your husband more than you love him. There are going to be some times that you love your husband more than you like him.
True.
And so when you get married, what I think, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. You fight through that tough season.
You don't think women fight through that?
No, I'm not saying they don't. But percentages has told us that women initiate divorce. And
we initiate divorce. Right. At what point?
No.
I think what I'm hearing you say.
Let me say it real fast.
Okay.
It is pointless if we're supposed to be together forever through thick and thin.
Yes.
Every marriage, every person that's been married, or couple has thought about divorce.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's kind of common.
Of course.
But those that make it are those that say we're going to fight through whatever we're going through.
I agree.
You're saying in it to win it.
Yes.
Tanya is saying throw the game once I check out emotionally, because the game is not going to win once the woman's
exactly.
emotions
But let's talk
are
about
out.
this. And once those emotions are
out.
gone, and once those
Hey.
emotions, let me say this, David. Let me say this. Those women will, I believe women will fight. We want our families. We want our children to be in a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, the emotions, he's sitting up there not treating me right, I'm gone. I feel like there are a lot of women that give and give and give. So when I say those emotions, that means he's doing his own thing, abuse, whatever the issue is, it's just not.
And it's been going a long time.
And it's been going on. And like I said, people are different. There are some that probably do jump out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
they don't have that commitment and discipline like our parents
True.
did. Because I agree with you. We have to be able to work through things.
I
You
agree.
don't just leave. Now let me ask you this.
Ask me anything.
If she had cheated on you, if she were the one,
Mm.
would you be willing to stick it out?
Not my first marriage.
That's a good
No,
question.
not my first marriage. No, definitely not my first.
So then, okay.
Not my first.
And that's the reason that she divorced you, right? Was
Right,
infidelity.
one of the reasons, yeah.
So you understood that.
I understood the assignment. Yes.
So you don't feel like, so then you wouldn't. But now do you think infidelity is something that people can get?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Because I think
Mhm.
that if that's your non-negotiable,
Mm-hmm.
then that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm
Mhm.
sure those that stand by that will talk about that in the beginning of a relationship. Me at 54,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to burn down the house for that.
Mm-hmm.
What about the trust though? I mean, what about the behind your back part?
Well, you
Like,
can-
what
I'm
if
gonna be
I
going
what
with
if I said I like somebody and I think I want to be intimate with them? Would you respect the fact that I asked or brought it to you in truth, so we can keep the truth between us solid? Or do you want to feel insecure because there's no honesty there? It's behind your back. Somebody got a whole other situation going on. I can't forgive that.
Well,
That energy is something I can't do.
a relationship, but this may sound crass.
If my man tell me I'm slipping, I'm about to fall, and
Do they ever
or
tell?
this is what
Okay.
I think there are some couples that are
Sure.
100
Yeah.
because they know and understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we had this conversation.
I think that could be very powerful.
I'm
What's
so
your
glad.
say?
I got
Okay.
something.
Okay.
To your point, let me get to your point because I'm old and I forget. Okay. Of course, I would not like my wife having sex with somebody else. Okay. Period. However, I think at 54, it's just not worth getting a whole divorce over. I just don't think so. One or two times, okay. A relationship is different. Relationship is you going to his house, taking a nap and falling asleep. Y'all ain't even doing nothing, and then coming back home. That's more hurtful than just actually doing it. Because you love the guy. If you in love with somebody, y'all not doing it every time. Y'all chilling, watching Netflix, you cooking for them or whatever.
Women don't do it like men though. Women is gonna lay there for a minute. Women,
Exactly.
they gonna lay there for a
Women,
minute.
Okay. That's a great point. It is.
I mean-
I just learned something. Okay. but I want to talk about real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of inboxes. Once I start talking about relationships,
Okay.
married men have been texting me
Okay.
and calling me
Mm-hmm.
about certain things that they've been going through because they trust me, whether it's about therapy
Okay.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Okay. If sex has become a chore
Okay. Yeah.
in a relationship,
Yeah.
why do women push monogamy? Think about that for a second. You want your man to be faithful
Yeah.
in everything,
Yeah.
but you don't want to have sex with him. And I don't mean just sex. I mean, come on.
Who doing that?
I'm just saying, you single, you got energy. I'm just saying,
They not like
Wait
that.
a minute.
I'm just saying.
Hold on. There are married women that are willing to. You have to spice it up. You
Yes,
have to
and-
keep
You're
it.
talking about losing the spark.
Answer my question
Mhm,
because you have
But
girlfriends.
I agree. There.
You
Yes.
have girlfriends
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that
Yes.
have sex with their husband.
Yes. It's like a chore. Like it's just yeah.
It's a job.
I
Well,
agree.
doesn't sex
I
get weaponized sometimes.
We weaponize.
I agree there.
I think either can weaponize it. A man can be cold and just have you feel like it's no openness, so you can't. It doesn't make you feel that kitty cat kind of way.
I do not believe that. I do not believe that.
Shit.
You don't
Sorry,
believe that. You fine. What I believe to be true.
But women, there's another side to it, sir. I'm going to finish. So I think that women can be harboring, punishing you sometimes, or harboring little resentments or little bitterness, and it can shut down the sex. And it could be intentional. A part of it is intentional, but a part of it is it's a lack of desire, because there's unresolved issues. There are things that I haven't been able to work out in my spirit with you, so I don't want to open my body.
And all of this shows a lack of maturity. Right, because we shouldn't weaponize. We have to communicate. We shouldn't be shutting down sex as a wife, because we know that's a part of a marriage. That's part of intimacy.
Yeah.
So I go back to the maturity and to the communication and to really the foundation of that relationship.
Old school relationships say you have sex with your husband no matter what. If he wants it, that's your duty as a wife to give him sex.
Okay.
Are you saying we should go back to that?
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm just asking.
You give me sex. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it was funny. The weaponizing the acceptance of us. We accept you guys with your bonnet and going to bed looking all unattractive because we choose you. You said earlier we chose one another. No. Your husband chose you.
Okay.
Out of all these women in the cab, he chose you. And you like what he was saying. So it gets to a point where men are getting sex. Well, come on, that's all you want.
And I don't agree with that.
And so that part of it is incredibly unfair.
It hurts.
Yes.
It does hurt, and I'm telling you, my inbox be flaming with husbands that want some insight. It's like I know it all because I don't, but they want some insight of what should they do. They're not getting anything to fight out here.
Is that the primary complaint?
Yes,
because men need sex.
I'm gonna tell you something. If you, I don't know y'all history, none of my business, but if you compare the relations you had from as opposed to being in love, it's not even no comparison. Being in love with somebody is the most amazing thing in the world. If you make love to that person, it sets your fucking mood for the day.
You're so sweet.
I'm just saying, it just does. And so men are so simple, we're not complicated. No. If the woman that we chose gives us initiated love or initiated intimacy, man, we'll run through a wall.
I agree. And you know what? And I completely agree. And for my women out there that are married, men are visual. We know this. Your husband, you're right. When he saw you, it was that attraction. We know that. And when you were dating him, 9 times out of 10, you were probably making sure that all of his desires were met. That doesn't stop when you get married. Now, we get busy in marriages with the kids and with our jobs and things, and we have to work through that. But I do believe as a wife, you keep yourself together, you know, and honestly, and that's just me, and I get it with the bonnet, but I have always tried to go to bed looking good for my husband. I just believe in that. That's that, you know, and that's how you keep them. And I feel like sex is just a very important part of intimacy and in a relationship. And ladies, we have to do that. And there have been complaints because I have male friends where they're like, you know, you all get all dressed up and all this and go out with the girls, but then you come home in a bonnet. You know what? I'm going to choose to make sure I'm looking good for my man at home.
Okay.
That's my, so I do agree.
Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to reel this back in because this ain't no sex talk. Okay, we'll do that for later. I'm going to come back to that talk. But the hardest part for me now dating is explaining the trauma I've had and not knowing if that person can handle that. So we talk to people that just couldn't handle it. And so there was a time when I wasn't in the space to date. After my second divorce, I didn't want no part of nobody. I wanted to be just surface, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to put all, like it's part of your identity now, to tell all of the intricacies of your trauma to people that you're dating?
Well, I'm not afraid of it anymore.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
You
no,
think
great
it's
question.
important?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of it anymore.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
you say certain things and you put it out there, you can no longer harm me by it.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
bring it up
That's right.
6 months from now. I'm like, man, whatever. 'Cause I've already dealt with it. I've already been embarrassed by it. You can see, using some of these therapy sessions, I'm crying like I don't even know why I'm crying, and I'm just talking about stuff,
Yeah.
and and I tell you when I called the 1-800 number, this lady had the most amazing voice. Like, yo, mama talking. He's like, this is can I help you? I'm like, I'm crying, you know what I'm saying? And so it went on, and then I feel more comfortable. And so that's kind of what I want. And so I wasn't always in that space to be that person. And so it wasn't fair to the person I was dealing with at the time. But I just afraid to be open. Yeah, it's kind of.
I've got to say this because we are running out of time, but we've got to have a part 2.
You gotta have me back.
We've got to have a part 2 because I think
I'm a good guest.
we really are. I love this, and I mean I'm learning. Honestly, some of the things that you're saying, I'm taking it in and I'm learning. But I really want us to go more in depth, especially about the therapy, and especially about now you being at the point of being more vulnerable, being more open, and all of that. So
it's not a lot of black men that talk about
right.
Because we were raised wrong. It's a generational curse. We were told, well, you better not cry. Boys don't cry. And so what happened was, unbeknownst to our parents, they raised unavailable men.
Yes.
My daddy didn't kiss me. My mama didn't hug me or kiss me because their mom and daddy didn't do it. And so now I try to hug my daddy before he passed away. Go on, boy, let me kiss me. But I needed to see that.
Yeah.
And then once he was almost dead, so to speak, then I love you. He never told me that. And so we raise our kids. They don't know. We don't know that it's wrong until he won't open up to me. I got friends going through a divorce now. Her husband just don't talk. It's not that he don't want to talk. He just never was taught to be emotional and be open. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, have me back.
We're going, because it's all about healing. It's all about doing it better the next time around. Join us for part 2.